music, and I discovered that he is a throat singer. He does nature sounds, as we heard a little earlier. He does all kinds of improvisational and collaborative work with modern dance and various groups. I see here you're also an author, Dave.
What?
Did not know that. And a storyteller. So he is going to do, I have to read this part because I love this part, Dave. Extended voice artist, theater, radio, Foley, soundscape and design, composer, folk singer, and nature mimic. That's our Dave.
Where did you get all that?
Somebody wrote this. So he's going to do amazing stuff for us today. We know not what at this point.
I know not what either. If this
I
doesn't
know,
work,
that's the
so,
fun part.
yada,
It's
yada.
an acoustic bass.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Okay, you're on.
That's the thing. Hello, everyone. My name is David. I go by DB Patterson when I'm performing, which is now. Thank you. Tim and Liz are friends. It's been 11 years now. I met these folks 11 years ago when Jen Yu said, oh, I know this crazy collaborator, and Tim was starting with the department, and we got together and did some work with dance, and we've collaborated since. Most recently, maybe since, but at the 2019 second formal dinner where I wooed my wife over here, Basil. Tim came along for the end of the production, which was just I worked a 16-hour day, and I was like, let's just slaughter this place, let's go for it. So I rubbed a lot, raspberry juice all over me, and we went out on stage and just made a mockery of the theater, which is why they shut it down for 3 years. And they had to clean it up. And Basil's roommate said, "You that's your guy, huh?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, that's great." So Basil performed here earlier in 2 iterations with Wild Love and the community chorus, and then I will disclose. I talked to Tim about flipping a coin to see how we would divide this hour, and he won, and I said, "Good, you'll go first." Like I took it over completely. Because after a chorus of, 18 voices, and then the rest of the community, 16 voices, I'm just one voice, which I can split into 2 or 3. But I was just cowed. There, cowed. All right, so I gotta still work on this sound thing. What's going on here? I'll give you the basics. Sound. And this is the whole act. I'm just going to play recordings of myself. Enjoy. You've heard of it from Mongolia or Tuva. From the center of Asia, there is nomadic, shamanic, crazy, beautiful singing that is a multitude of voices produced by one voice box. I was farming in New Glarus, raising sheep. It's been 25 years ago now, and I used to play the didgeridoo, right? Everybody knows the didgeridoo sounds like? I used to play that all the time, and I was out farming the sheep and screaming at the sky, trying to find the ghost of my dead father, and my voice went, yeah! And I was like, wow, that hurt. That's cool. She's just had nearly strep throat for a couple of days. I'm like, well, you can force it and become a throat singer, or not, but with some practice, and the pain subsided after about a year. I was able to go. come to me once. Come on, little sheep, and then run the other way. This helps. So I'm gonna warm up because I'm really nervous. This is a Shruti box. It makes just a little drone like this, and I sing over the top. So the voice isn't connected to the box. There's nothing going on, no special effects. But this is how I can calm down. Never be in the chorus. People are like, quit it. Reverb really helps. Is it that I'm singing in a canyon or a very large toilet? So that's the introduction. Things work. That's kind of close. That's what I do at home. I got a little funny story about, I don't know if you know Miriam. She worked tech at UW Dance for one of the first, Miriam Hall, for one of the first things that I did with some kids from Iowa who were in a rock and roll band that I used to scream for. I was like We did a production, my first production at UW-Madison, and I met this gal doing tech on the show. Her name is Miriam. And we got to yakking during all the downtime and all the tech and winding wires and all that stuff. And she said, "Where do you live?" I said, "Oh, I live on the east side of town. I live on Johnson Street." She said, "I live on Johnson Street too." Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. We found out we lived a block apart.
Oh.
She's like, "Which house do you live in?" I said, "A little brown shack that there's probably screaming noise and everything." She's like, "Oh my God." All of my roommates and I cross the street and walk away from that house because we think somebody's butchering cattle in there. Yeah, that's me learning how to sing. And she's like, "You gotta come over for dinner." And in the middle of it, tell them where you live. We get along great. I don't know what to do. Now, the trick with this is to remember to empty the channel. Which when they do that in England, it's a big mess. Getting an empty channel. There goes nothing. used this in so long.
That was great.
Oh yeah, I've got that thing. Troy made for me. Let me try one more tune. I get the shakes. Then it makes it hard to play. Strawberry chocolate vanilla shamrock shake. That's a great one. I know they're groaners. They're all grown. Imagine what it's like to live with me. Actually, Basil and I are really good at how they do. We're opening a bakery across the street. Did everybody know this?
Yes.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
Eventually.
Okay.
Excuses.
Yeah. I don't want to rush into it.
Across the street. So it must be part of
show up and do this. It's been a great opportunity. Do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So who's doing the 24-hour one?
Oh, my friend in Madison, who has, she has 2 porches on her house and she does porch concerts
Mhm.
on Division Street on the east side. And so she's doing a 24-hour. Wow.
Fun.
I know the neighbors calling the cops on
Day. She
her.
has good relationships with her neighbors, fortunately.
Might be great.
She's not doing, I mean, she's booking both.
Yeah, she's booking, she's not doing it herself, she is, but I did say that I saw on her website that at 3 a.m. it said Jane and Chimes. So she was like, there's an empty hour, I'll take my little chimes out and make some music. So, she's playing little chimes out there and I don't know what she's doing.
Well, that'd be peaceful.
Yes, that's right, at 3 a.m. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing at 3 a.m. too.
Isn't it?
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you talk, when you talked about your throat hurting for a year,
Uh-huh.
were you serious?
I was completely serious. So, I was back in the olden days. I was a paramedic on the West Coast, and I had the privilege of dropping in, endotracheal tubes in people for resuscitation. And I had the, I had the visualization of what was going on there. And then I've been making strange noises since I came out of my mother's womb. She's just like, you are Gerald McBoing. There's a comic book about you. Go be in Hollywood, do whatever. So I had that knowledge, and then when I was singing and my voice cracked, and it was like, I hadn't heard of throat singing yet, and played the didgeridoo and things like that, but I was like, okay, this is something different. And then I was also working as a DJ on WRT, and people were like, that's throat singing, here's the references to it. My parents, who had given me the didgeridoo all those years ago, and I told them, I'm singing like a didgeridoo, and they said, well, we just saw this movie about a guy who's doing this thing, and he goes to tuba and wins an award and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Genghis Blues. And they're like, we're gonna send you the soundtrack. I was like, great, it's CD from Mom, how great is that? And I opened it up, and I look at the guy, and I'm like, I know this guy. And HIPAA's okay because he's been dead a long time, I guess. But I picked him up in the Tenderloin in an ambulance a couple of times when I was interning with the Department of Public Health. So like I knew who he was. I didn't know him as a musician. I just knew him as a guy who I remembered him because he was one of the only patients to take a swing at me. Because he was really mad and he didn't like cops and he thought we were cops, but he was blind until he missed, duck out of the way or whatever. But found out years later that he's this guy. I had a teacher in Minneapolis who visited with Paul once and told him her story, and Paul's reply was, I hope I didn't hurt the little guy. And I was like, that's worth it. But yeah, when I started doing this buzzing thing with my throat, I remembered the anatomy from having visualized it and studied it in school and everything. So I knew what was buzzing and what wasn't, and then what the tubans and what the cultures that throat sing, they create, a wash of notes and then pull notes out so that they complement each other. And I didn't, I was just doing that, like imitating things. So I've always been a mimic, and that was just the next thing to do. But it hurt. So I had strep throat, drugs and alcohol, chain smoker for years, everything was like just piling on garbage on my throat. And I got this pristine voice out of it, so like you do. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. What did you do for the pain when it hurt for a year? What did you do? Did you keep singing?
No.
Did you keep?
I sang harder. I pressed through it.
Okay.
It was just like, okay, there's something. And really, the part about my father is serious. I grew up not knowing my absent father. And he was a notorious butthole. Hi, I'm on camera. But that's all I knew about him. And I had no connection. And he had passed, many years without my knowing, So I was trying to connect to his energy. And it was rough. He was a bully, so I let him bully
And you also do overtones as you're singing.
Yeah.
And that's different than the throat singing.
So it's part of throat singing.
Yeah.
You know, when I talked to Steve Sklar, he's the handler of Hoover 2 when we come to the area. He teaches. He was in Minneapolis teaching throat singing. And when I approached him, I said, you know, I'd like to have an instructor to work on the basics of what I'm doing. And he said, are you an overtone singer or are you a throat singer? Because he's like, I don't talk to overtone singers. He's too busy or whatever. And overtone singing examples are. And then I drop it down. But I'm shaking my, what are they? They are it's the subvocal folds. They're right over the vocal cords, so I'm actually vibrating those to get that effect.
You know, Taliesin Choir back in,
Yes.
I forgot how long ago it was.
Before COVID with Effie.
We did, it was years ago, and Effie Casey pulled out a piece that required some throat singing. And so
Overtones.
Overtone singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
overtone singing,
Yeah.
yeah, overtone singing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would sit in a practice room, I was a music teacher, and I sat in the practice room in my school trying to figure out how to do that, and I could never get it to work. And we had some people in the choir who could do the throat singing to this piece. And it was amazing, I mean, it was just amazing, but it's hard to do. Is that hard on your throat when you do it all the time?
I learned the hard way. I don't teach it that way. I would never ever teach anybody to once it cracks or once it hurts, back off. Keep approaching.
So I was obviously doing something not right. But
Yeah, my approach is untoward, but you know, it got me what it got me.
You know.
And then I'll get laryngitis and asthma, things like that. I quit smoking several years ago, so that really cleared things up, so I don't get as sick.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to listen to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the most nervous part. I've been playing the bass for 25 years, just playing in front of people.
Yeah.
So when you left, there was a
Yeah.
guy sitting in here, I'm like, oh, I'll keep playing, so I can
Yeah.
act like I'm playing in front
Yeah.
of people. But the second it's
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the social trimmer kicks in.
Right.
Yeah.
Dear.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank these guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's been a while since I worked with y'all and
Sharing space.
share air.
That's soothing.
Hello,
Yeah.
pleasure. You threw the child down the valley.
Thank you for coming.
I'll tell you what about it.
Thank you. No, but you're dear for pointing that out.